Okay. Hello. We have moved over to Apex, which anybody who follows my TikTok will recognize this LFA from literally last night because it's a flamethrower, which my TikTok is the exact same as my YouTube, Grim Reaper 4_20, all capitals. And you will get to see this thing being a flamethrower. But I haven't done a proper cinematic. That's just a 33-second clip of the rear side angle, showing it weaving through traffic on the highway map. I wasn't going for speed for that. I was going for backfire because this is the only car that literally lights up like a flamethrower like that. So I was just playing with the throttle response to make it flamethrower as much as I could, because it's pretty cool. I like backfire in that here because it's much more realistic. This LFA is based off of the Gitani exhaust LFA, or it's based to have a Gitani exhaust. And I don't know what kind of tuning goes into that. I always run purple calipers. That's not my purple, though, is it? Because I don't think I've touched this yet. No, it is my purple. It just looks so much brighter on this than it does on this. Oh, not when the light shines on it. I guess it's just the shade part makes it more difficult. I've gotten a lot of vehicles now. A lot of them were attained last night. I took advantage of a slight bug that happened, and that was I had 200 wheel spins. I did 120, and it gave me the currency I have now. It got me up to where I am now. I haven't actually spent anything. But so I got the 31,000, and I went to go buy a car, and I picked the LFA. And I believe it was 20-some thousand blue points, 29,000 blue points, maybe, something like that. Expensive in blue points. It basically would have used all of my blue points. I don't think it was 29. I think it was a little bit under, because I'm pretty sure I had just a little bit more than what I'm estimating. So I'm pretty sure I would have had more than 3,000 points left over when I did the math, but short-term memory loss plays with things like that. The glitch that happened was when I bought said car using my blue points, it didn't consume any of my blue points. And I thought at first maybe it's just a delay, and I was a bit cautious, so I then went and I bought the next car on my list, which is this F90, which I have gone ahead and went and tuned, and it will likely be what's in my video. I might as well use it in this video, actually, because my LFA is already on TikTok, so it would only make sense to drive the one I haven't filmed. But the glitch is that I went into the dealership, and when I bought a car using my blue points, it didn't consume any of my blue points. So, and how that happened, normally I would have spun all of my spins in one. When I got to 80, I tried to keep going, but I got some kind of error message. So I just backed out of it and decided to work with the little bit of currency I had. Because originally, I was gonna go for something more expensive like the 765 or my 488 GTB. Um, I used to have the 720 on my old account. I haven't had the 765, so I'm gonna go for the 765 this time around. I did used to have the 488 GTB. That is actually in a video on my TikTok. Very, very much so at the bottom of my page because it was around the time that I made that TikTok account that I have now. Um, it's only first person view of me following a LaFerrari who was drifting. It's a interesting clip though. It's not a bad clip in any way. Just nothing special about it. It was just two Ferraris and a GT3 outrunning on Angeli's crest in a public server with collisions on. I always run collisions on. I run server 1. But so yeah, I took advantage of the glitch and I bought all of the blue point cars I wanted. I'm pretty sure I went and got all of them that I was able to afford that were blue point only. Pretty sure. Well, I missed that one. But I've also had this 350Z in the past, and it's nothing special. It's a drift car from factory, and it's got more power than it needs to have. I do need to get the Veyron. I have experience with the Veyron because I helped a friend get the Veyron on his account a long time ago. I used to have his account details. I don't anymore because I'm not connections with him. But I did get the Veyron for him, and I tested it and tuned it. And it's a wonderful car. I would like to have a Veyron myself. So there are vehicles I do need to get back as well as get new. I've never had any of the GT3 cars because those are new. I used to have the 787B and the F1 car. Senna is new. New to me, at least. These cars have been in here for a while now. The P1 I also got from my friend, so I have experience with it, just haven't owned it on my own account. Zonda, no experience with at all. LaFerrari, no experience with at all. Koenigsegg I used to own, and it was wonderful. 765, I'm going to be getting eventually, because, like I said, I didn't have that, but I had the 720. Now, for anybody who's going, well, Grim, why didn't you get the 765 your first time around? There's a very simple answer to that. My first time around, when I bought the 720, the 765 simply wasn't in the game at that time. So I literally couldn't. It didn't exist yet. Otherwise, I would have went for the higher performance model. To me, honestly, I'm kind of a little confused on why they bothered to add the 765 when we had the 720. Because everything else, there's no other vehicles of the same model, really. And that's what the 765 and 720 and 750 is. They're all just different. Yes, in legal paper terms, they're different models. But realistically, they're all the same base vehicle with different trims. Just like a Charger base model is still a Charger. But a Hellcat is a very much different Charger from that. And a Scat Pack and the GT and so on. And, you know, They all have different variants. And that's really all it is with the McLaren line of like 720, 750, and 765, which honestly I like the 750 the most, which is ironic because it's the one they didn't give me. But, you know, it is what it is. So, I did take advantage of that. And I got a lot of cars from that money glitch that happened to me. I don't know if it's still going to happen to me. I'll find out later. If it's still in play, then I'm definitely going to take advantage of it again. Because why spend any more points than I actually have to? If I can get away with just reaching the number of points I need for the most expensive one, and I can buy the most expensive one, and it does the glitch, and it doesn't consume any of my blue points, then I'll just go through the rest of the list and get all the other blue point cars. Because why not? You know. The only way you can actually attain blue points is either by paying for them with real money or doing the wheel spins. So, realistically, I haven't cheated anything other than advertisements. I cheated my way out of advertisements. And I didn't even cheat. It was just a bug that I exploited. It just seemed to happen. It wasn't planned. I don't know what caused it. I don't know how to recreate it. I don't even know if it's still in play. But yeah. We'll go to Angeles Crest because that's where we can get some good handling type driving in. We got good corners on Angeles. Yeah, I'll put the report on in case anything interesting happens that I want to review in a cinematic or third-person angle. Oh, gee. I haven't driven it twice. I've driven on CPM today, and that's what I'm still used to CPM steering in this moment. Starting to get a feel from proper steering settings, legitimate ones that CPM could but doesn't. Briefly drove this last night when the glitch happened after I got the car. And it's a great car. I just don't have much experience with it yet. But I definitely want to expand on that. I'm worried about that. Yep, that's exactly why. I need to be less aggressive with my line going wide. My driving style is inertia based. I initiate drifts using my regular foot brake because that's all you actually need. Basically, first thing, every time you hit the brakes, the weight shifts to the front, taking the weight off of the rear tires. So, and then when you turn, the weight shifts to the outside, opposing direction of what you're turning, of the direction you're turning. So if you're turning right, the weight shifts to the left. And if you're turning left, the weight shifts to the right. In which this literally initiates slip on its own because the inside tires have lesser traction rate than the outside tires. And the whole point of a drift in the first place is to remove as much weight as possible off of the inside front tire. That was my job. I countered too hard too soon. This thing's got quite some power to it. But yeah, I entered just like that by weight shifting. I use my brakes often lightly because you don't need much braking pressure to shift the weight itself. The second you let off the gas, it shifts to what would be known as a neutral state, where the car is just coasting. I almost got it there because I almost cut in early. I did cut in early. I just cut back out when I saw him because I knew that if I didn't, I would die. So, struggling to remember my last point I just said. Yeah, weight shifting. Going from an accelerative state to a braking state instantly, or rather quickly, will shift the weight in a decently drastic manner, but not overly drastic manner. Enough so where it lets the back tires slip out. This is the method you would likely use to drift. Well, this is the method I use to drift anything and everything. I'm surprised I didn't die on that rock. Front-wheel drive specifically benefit off of this inertia method because it keeps all four of your tires wearing much more evenly than it would if you were to use your handbrake. I do sometimes initiate via accelerator, which some people might say, oh, well, that's a power slide, and it's like, well, that's not exactly how it works, because a drift is defined as a controlled slide with countersteer. That is what a drift is defined as. So, you know, a power slide is a form of drift. It's just that you entered using the accelerator. It doesn't change the rest of the trajectory of how it works. It's just your form of initiation. So, for all of those people who like to go, oh, that's not a drift, that's a power slide, I hate to break it to you, but a power slide is a drift. It just means that you entered using your accelerator, not your handbrake or foot brake, or inertia. Oh, I didn't think it was gonna understeer like that. I thought it would turn in sharper. But my momentum was faster than what my tires could handle for what I was trying to do. But yeah, weight shifting is the way to go. When you brake and turn specifically, it brings the weight off the tires while providing direction change, which I don't know the exact scientific terms for how to explain this properly, which is why I have so many pauses. I want to word this in a way that's correct, but I don't know the scientific terms to be correct, so it makes things a bit difficult. But it creates the slide when you brake and apply direction change because the rear tires have less traction and are being forced to move in a lateral manner, I believe. I think that's the way it works. I'm not sure. It's the lesser friction weight in the rear caused by the weight shift to the front. Combined with steering will let the rear slip out. There's many other ways to initiate. You don't have to initiate via weight shifting. It's just the most efficient way of initiation. It uses the tires the best. It provides the least amount of friction out of all of the methods on your tires. It's the nicest on your engine and transmission as well. Very nice on the engine and transmission. Like, it's not rough on the engine and transmission. It's the only thing it's hard on is your tires. Can be hard on your suspension depending on the circumstances, but I'd imagine that you need a pretty rough road for it to have any real effect on your suspension. The tires is really the main thing that drifting consumes. However, if you're redlining, you might run into engine problems, because if you abuse the engine power, in real world, that can cause damages. By redlining, I'm referring to holding that redline constantly, or banging off redline or limiter, because, well, it's simply pushing the engine past a point it's supposed to go. That's why it bounces back, or it's just... There's a red zone for a reason. We all know this, or at least we should. In video games, it doesn't apply as much. Often it doesn't apply at all. Like here, it's not going to give me any engine damage. There are some games where it will, but it makes it very easy to forget that different methods of drifting can cause different problems for your vehicle. For instance, if I always use my handbrake or parking brake for parking, which is what it was originally designed for, I never have to worry about my parking brake wearing out. Damn it. I was hoping I would be able to pull in when I saw him, but I just wasn't able to. I have the 4-wheel drive bias on this set pretty low, so swinging wide is not a good idea when you're swinging into oncoming traffic. Yeah, that was pretty smooth. I should know better, god damn it. I literally just went over that. I don't know, I'm just gonna move for drifting. But yeah, that is how my driving style works. It's all just weight shifting. That was pretty smooth. That wasn't bad. But yeah, for anybody going, well, front wheel drive cars can't drift. No accelerator, just to the drift. There is no reason why any car can't drift unless it is too tall in which it would roll over. If it's not too tall to roll over, then it can drift. So long as it can... I don't know what the bare minimum speed necessary for drifting is, but I would say so long as it can do 60 kilometers an hour or faster, it can drift. Maybe not for long, maybe not very quickly, maybe not very pretty. But in terms of physics and the definition of what is a drift, it can still do it. Yeah. Well, I wasn't expecting it to bog down on power. That's a first. I was in a much higher gear than normal, but I figured with the amount of power it has, it would just pull. But it didn't. It's okay, we hit a light fender bender. Just a bit of a tap. Nothing left. Shouldn't be doing that. The only reason why I am doing that is because the AI just passed me, and I know for a fact that they are spaced out, and they will stay spaced out until you physically stop them and wait for them to group together. So, whenever one passes, I know that I have a decent amount of space before seeing the next one. They used to be much more frequent. I feel like the amount of AI was lessened on Angeli's Crest compared to how it was a few years ago. I would have hit that rock. I went for the inside just a little too far and I would have hit that rock. So I countersteered because, well, that's all I could do. It's either countersteer to the right and spin out or hit the rock and die. So, you know, pick the better of the two bad options. Yeah. And that's why you shouldn't be doing what I'm doing, and you should really get to know the car you're driving before almost dying again, before pushing it to a performance level that you would normally push whatever you're used to. Because right now I'm treating this basically the same as I treat my RS6. They're really not too far apart, except my RS6 has a much higher four-wheel drive bias on it than this does, but that's just the way I tuned it. For a fact, anything that can go 100 kilometers an hour can drift. So long as it's not going to roll. If it's top heavy that it will roll if it tries to enter a slide, then that can't really drift. I mean, so here's the thing. Is something like that hypothetically can still drift. It's just that the manner of initiation would have to be done by handbrake because you would physically need the slide to start before it goes sideways. Because if it has traction when it goes sideways, it's going to roll, right? So you would need the braking traction point to be prior to the direction of slide initiation. Essentially, you would have to pull the handbrake or find a way to break the rear tires loose before starting the turn. Which, as far as I'm concerned, the only way to do that would be to put it in reverse and drop the clutch, which might drop your transmission. Or pull the handbrake. Or parking brake, I should say, because it's not always a handbrake. Some people have a foot parking brake. There may even be other types of parking brake. But yeah, realistically, basically anything can drift. If it's got tires and it has the ability to travel 100 kilometers an hour, it should most definitely be able to drift in some manner or another. Whether that be a good drift or bad drift doesn't change the definition of drift. So, you know. See? Like, less than half throttle in fourth, and it pulled fine, but when I gave it more throttle in fifth, it just died out. I feel like it should have given a bit more power. Bad habit of going into oncoming when I can't see when it's a blind corner. You should never go into oncoming when it's blind. And the reason why I do is because I've run into these so many times that I almost know the programming of the AI and how much space there is between each of them. So, you know, it's just kind of like, oh, I passed this one 10-15 seconds ago. I will only see the next one in a few 5-10 seconds. Getting a little slippy on that ledge of the road there. As it drops off. It drops by like... I want to say... I wasn't paying attention to the road. I was trying to gauge how much it dropped down. I want to say 2 inches. Maybe 1 inch. 1 to 2 inches, I would say. Yes, you can get even closer to that rock on the left, and you can take that line on the left, and if you take it perfectly hugging that rock, you can actually leave that whole left lane open, allowing for an AI car to pass by. So you can take that corner on the inside line, blind, and not have to worry about AI traffic. However, you do have to nail that line almost perfectly in order to be fully clear of oncoming traffic. And that line is also like 90% dirt. Very little of your car gets to stay on the pavement. So it has its own risks, you know? I'm really struggling to sync up to this car. Like, I'm not doing terrible in it, but I'm definitely not anything special right now. Not that I'm necessarily trying to be, I just like to drive the cars good. I like to bring out the most of their performance if I can. I don't like that. That's why. See, it's so conflicting, because there's moments with that corner back there where it grips up too early, and then there's moments with the corner before it where I literally couldn't get it to grip back up when I needed it to. God damn it. I saw it, but I couldn't move out of the way in time. Jesus. It way aggressively flipped on that. Haven't had that happen before. Not enough initial braking turning. I didn't break loose enough before trying to put power down, and so it just went back into the grip state immediately. It started to slip, but it was slipping in an understeer fashion, not an oversteer fashion. Yes, I know drifting is technically its own understeer, but anybody who knows what I'm talking about knows what I'm talking about. I shouldn't be slipping out at 100. I can take that section at 130. Like, what the fuck? Did it? No, it doesn't kick when I downshift. The Viper does that. That's why I was wondering maybe if it just kicked when I downshifted. But no. No. Fucking starting to get very irritated with this because it's almost doing the exact opposite of what I'm wanting it to do most of the time. Like, I'll get it to go into a big, large angle drift when I need a small angle drift, and a small angle drift when I need a big angle drift. I have rare moments like that one where it actually runs a nice smooth line that I planted it on. But most of the times it's rough and it starts to deviate. I think it's just how far I have the rear-wheel drive, the rear-wheel drive by set to. But I kind of wanted this car set up that way so it would be similar to rear-wheel drive, but with a little bit of a front-wheel drive assistance, which is what it is. I'm used to a bit heavier on front-wheel drive assist, or four-wheel drive assistance, I should say. Technically, both terms are correct. Doing it again. Just because I know that guy just passed and it's open for a bit. Why? Why is it slip out when I need it to slip in? It's not making sense. I'm really wanting to understand this car, but I'm really struggling to understand this car. I wonder, is it like an inverse system of a Tesla ETS system? Is it ETS or ECS? I think it's ETS. I can't remember. The Atezza four-wheel drive system. I think it's like an inverse system like that. It feels like one. At least the way I have it set up. On trying to perform nice drifts that I completely forget about being mindful of traffic. But you can do both. Okay. Slipped out a tad there. I don't know what happened that one time. It's like a mix between a Haldex system and an Atezza system. It's very interesting the way I have this tune set up. It's a good tune, I just need to get in sync with it, but it's a complicated tune. shouldn't be. God damn it. I keep doing it. I keep disregarding traffic. This corner, the ones where you can get into this inside, those are safe. If you can get into the inside quickly, you don't have to worry about oncoming traffic because you're on the inside. I would not recommend doing that in real life because you will not know if there is a broken down car right around that corner that is sitting in the lane you are currently driving in. And if there is an oncoming vehicle passing that broken down vehicle on the shoulder and you are drifting through the shoulder like I did, well, you don't have anywhere to go. So it turns out very poorly. Okay. I'll let it... we'll go to the halfway point. And we're not going to watch all of this. We're just going to let it play for a little bit. Trying to think of any other points I might want to go over. See, that one was nice. I do like the F90. I've wanted to do one up for a while now. So I will be... This car will be coming to my TikTok soon in a proper cinematic video like I normally do. That didn't look half bad. It was a bit rough though. I definitely didn't have the best performance, but it's also not the worst of performances. I've seen much worse, but I'm definitely not the best. I'm not going to try to claim anything about being the best. That would be a very foolish claim for me to make. Because, well, for one, I only got the car last night. I have, like, almost no experience in it. This video here is more experience than I had in it last night. I only spent, like, 10 minutes of driving it last night, just testing to see if the car was solid as a car, and it was. And it is. So, I'm happy with it as a car. It's great. As a driver, I need to sync up to the tune better. Yeah, so the car has no faults. The way I'm driving the car, that has faults sometimes. We'll let it run to the end of the run, and once it gets there, we'll return to the garage and wrap things up. But yeah, my driving style is pretty simple. It's just understanding weight shifting, inertia, and friction. Decent turnaround. But if we let it keep playing, we will get distracted. Because that is what happens. So, I'll quickly just go over. I always run factory brakes. I went over that in the AE86 video. I almost never upgrade the engine block itself. I did with the AE86, only to get it to the 250 horsepower mark, just to keep it a bit more balanced with the more modern cars that have a little bit more power. I still have plenty that needs to be built. But this is what's going to be coming to my TikTok next. I can quickly go over this stuff.
So we're thinking our Y-man was behind everything then? I guess that name is as suitable as any. But there's no way he'd be alive after 3,700
Oop, hold on.
That is, unless he petrified himself along with us. Everybody slow down.
And that is my tune work for this. If anybody wants to replicate the tune, I really don't care. It's a good tune. I like it. It suits what I built it to do. To each their own. If you don't like it, you don't have to drive it. You know? So, yeah, that is my driving style explained in a more proper physics-styled manner with demonstration of my driving. So, it is a pretty simple method in itself. The theory itself is solid and simple. It's just complex to execute because, well, it requires a level of precision that is very highly detailed, in which cannot be attained overnight. And that attention to detail will vary from vehicle to vehicle as to how much is needed and in what manner. So, that is where I'll wrap that up. And I will be back with whatever next video I end up making next.